And at that particular point, none of your ecclesiastics marriage works.
Okay.
Period.
So the thing is, you just said, can we agree that there's no God in marriage? And then
You don't have to agree.
But hang on, calm down. And then you switched over to divorce. There's no God in divorce. But those are two different questions and proposition. Hang on, relax. The second thing is that me saying that what made marriage a great institution is this whole Sky Daddy character, and that the institution has been in place for 2,000 years, and it's been, hang on, calm down.
2,000
and it's
years.
been a strong institution. I'm not actually sure how tying in.
You gotta let men know what they get out of this, because all the churches, they're going to be dead by the end of the century because they just cannot tell men like what they're going to get out of this.
That at the time they cut people's heads off, what that has to do with the fact that in the 1950s and 40s, you still had 95% of these marriages staying together. This is not ancient history. This is not even early American history. That's hang on. That's in your grandfather's lifetime, basically. And this, by the way, that was the case for black marriages as well. Very strong institutions. Correct. But all of those institutions were that way because they followed that whole Sky Daddy thing. Correct. They were like, oh, that Sky Daddy's going to smite us if we don't. And so what you do here is you're giving the classic.
I don't think women have ever feared God. But I think it's more, like women. Sorry, I just don't believe women ever have had the fear of God in them. Eve didn't fear God, but it was more pragmatic. Women had to stay with beta bucks back then. It's not like we wanted to. We'd rather die than be with beta bucks, but we had to then.
Progressive argument, which is, well, guys, it is true that it's a great institution, and it is true it's the best place in the world to have children for the continuation of the species. And also, it's fantastic for men's health. It's fantastic for their mental health. It's great for them in almost every way. But that divorce thing is real bad. And I counter. You're right. That divorce thing is real bad. We have now a center of agreement. But now we're going back to the marriage in the West thing, which is that whole great institution problem. Well, if we agree that what made it good, which you just did, is, hey, that Sky Daddy guy, and then I point out that right now you can still utilize that Sky Daddy guy for an ecclesiastical marriage outside of the state. Hang on. And
women don't fear God.
The only thing you could do is say, well, what about common law? But you can't govern anybody from common law. And at least in the ecclesiastical institution, you have social pressures on women to.
All right. So if Andrew wants to argue, maybe it's like better than regular marriage by a little bit. Sure. But look, Andrew, again, it goes back to like, you can put these studies in front of my face, but at some point people are going to believe their eyes over time. And I have seen I grew up in a religious area, and I've seen how terrible those wives are. So I know you're not getting anything special by picking a religious woman. I know you're not. I know. And I know the reaction to that is, though, those women don't count. They weren't real religious women. I'm like, yeah, really? I don't know. They went to church weekly, and like one of my best friends, her mom cheated at work. It's like, yeah, you could argue maybe it's slightly better, but a lot of people got divorced eventually where I'm from.
Stay married. You can't offer a man anything like that. Give me a single social pressure you can offer that would actually keep these marriages together. One. What? Just one.
Can I answer something you just said? This would be interesting.
I can't wait.
You said,
but can you answer that question then?
No, before.
Oh, of course. You gotta ask me a question.
Because listen, I'm listening to you. You asked the question at the end. If you would have asked it at the beginning, possibly I might have been able to address it. But let me address this point.
Okay.
You said the 1940s and 1950s with this imaginary Sky Daddy controlling marriages. That sounds like enforcement, because by the time the 1970s came around, the very first chance women got to file a no-fault divorce without need for evidence, without need to have a private investigator to prove an affair.
Was no fault the 70s?
Yes, it was the 70s, started by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I'll educate you.
But hang on.
Came along. Hold on for a second. No. I got the floor here. I got the floor. So you said the religious institutions governed it and made it great. The 1970s came along, and as soon as they did,
Feminism.
women started to file divorces at record
Yeah, as soon as women could leave betas, they did. Women hate being with beta male providers.
rates, which is back to my conversation. Soon as you remove the authority of Sky Daddy, now you're back with the state. And now you have difficulty, and now the risk is now greater.
Oh.
So that's the issue that
Then
you
it
have.
sounds like men should be moving towards Sky Daddy then, because it mitigates their risk.
The courts, the nation should be
There's
moving
no
towards
courts.
that. But how do you enforce that? You're-
That's a good point. Oh, CGA made a really good point. He said the nation should be moving towards that, but how do you enforce that? And the truth is, if you look at all data, it's not going towards that.
What courts?
your
You're
land
not
is-
getting a marriage from the state. What courts are involved
everything
here?
you
Oh,
told me
$20.
is a make-believe.
I agree that women have always been this way throughout history. Ancient texts write warnings about female nature and how it leads to the ruin of men in society. In my opinion, civilizations are cyclical and we are here for the ride.
Scenario.
How? You can
You're
do it
telling-
right now. How is it make believe?
How do you do that when people
Here's
the
what you
marriages
do.
through state?
Yeah.
I know you want to go
I'll
back
tell
to
you how.
Ecclesiastics. This
No,
is
I'm
going to be
telling
a
you, you
problem.
can do it right
Okay.
this second.
Okay,
You
can
could go do it right now.
You can do it at this
You
particular
can't
point.
do.
However,
What do you mean?
here's the problem.
Okay.
Can you get men to do it?
Yes.
Okay, you might be able to think you can get men to do it, but as soon as they do it, I want you to stick around for the average of 8 to 10 years when these men start getting divorced. See, what you're doing is you're leading.
We've
men,
been
hold on
watching
for a
it for
second.
longer.
You've been leading. You're going to lead men into a burning building.
Oh.
And the reason why, and this is a famous quote by Martin Luther King, is because the laws.
I wish he wouldn't waive. I wish he wouldn't kind of wave this away with like a hand, the like leading men to like. It's the same reason I cannot, in good conscience, recommend marriage, is because I've seen too many men on the brink of suicide. I can't do it. I just can't. Like, I don't want to recommend something and they make that choice and then like they end up committing suicide, because I've seen men on the verge of that.
Integration didn't catch up fast enough for what he wanted for people to integrate. And what happened was it took him 12 to 15 years to realize that he led men or black people into a burning building in which integration was not possible at the time.
Okay.
You are also proposing the same thing. And I would like for you.
Someone said they're saying Tom Brady is a beta now. He was a beta, but it was just to Giselle. Like, he'd be alpha to a lot of women, but Giselle was with like the top alphas in the world. He can't compete with that. You know what I mean?
To stick around to see the results of what you're proposing, because eventually you would have to pay the price. How did Martin Luther King pay the price? You would have to pay the price for the men that you misled.
So Martin Luther misled men, and that's why he was killed?
No,
I
he's
said he
he's saying if the guys listen to him and follow him and then make a bad choice, Andrew's not going to be the one that pays the price. It's kind of like I felt really lied to with how conservatives in my early 20s, they said dating was supposed to go, because I went to college and I'm like, what am I going to take on dates? Traditional dates. And they're like, do you want to Netflix and chill? And that was everyone. It wasn't just me. I wasn't special.